So first off, I want to just temper the whole thing. So this is the first time that I'm doing a presentation at any conference. So don't throw the tomatoes, please. How about apples? I like apples. So so there's when we look at ourselves, or you hear the accomplishments, and an engineer, value stream manager, all of these titles. That's those are kind of the nice things to say, but in the the big picture of things is why. So why does Joe do that kind of stuff? So started out as a poster, delivering newspapers. So it started out with the paper route. I had 20 papers that I had to deliver. And then over the process of 6 months, I had 150 papers that I was delivering, from, paying attention to the customers, being on time, being, understanding what they're looking for, coming to deliver the paper to the right place, meeting with them. Then there's next, kind of one of the big things that I look back at is, as I was as an engineering intern. So I was with the county, and we were out doing surveying. So my job was to hold the stick, while Bruce, the surveyor, was running it. Had some of the guys at the job site, and they're trying to figure out what the volume of concrete there is to put into the forms. So, Bruce is saying, don't worry about that. That's my job. I got it taken care of. Well, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it that this guy genuinely wants to learn about something. He wants to know. He wants to have an answer. And it struck me that, we got to be able to help each other. So Bruce went off and he was doing his other thing, and I get down there in the field and show him how to, to calculate out the volume. So, those are some of the things that make me. I want to help people. I want to make sure that, that we succeed. So that's why I'm here. Why are any of you here? So you saw this presentation that says succeeding with others. What led any of you guys to choose to come here?
Do you want us to say it?
Yes, please.
I thought this was an unusual session for the day, and it appealed to me.
Okay.
So I'm
Okay.
Well, I think we all. Oh, sorry. I think we all have our own definitions or versions of what succeeding means, right?
Okay.
And always to hear another take on it, another avenue that we can learn and grow from.
Okay. Okay.
I think, the description of this session appealed to some of the stuff that I, am trying to do with the work that I'm in, which is, I like seeing others succeed. And so, a lot of why I am here is because I want to see the people that I don't want to say I'm supervising. I feel like I'm just like a really lucky head coach with a lot of talent. But I want to make sure that they know, the right play to make when they're out in the field, so they can continue to rack up the stats, not for me, but for them.
Right.
For the team. And so just, talking about working with others is really critical to that success.
Okay.
I like that it seems to be values based as opposed to like kind of technology based. It seems to be people centered. I feel like there's an element of everything that we do that should be people centered. And I like that this highlight.
Okay. Okay. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do anything if we didn't have each other at one point or another. If it's a competitor, if it's an implementer, if it's a customer, if it's, you know, your neighbor. We all, you know, it all has to work together. And the better we can work together, that's what it's all about. Got a couple questions. So how do you succeed with others? Someone got a example they can share?
I would say having empathy, trying to understand people's situations goes a long way. Not everyone has that, and I think when you do project that, when you're working with people, it's really appreciated, and it goes a long way.
Makes it easier, doesn't it?
100%.
Anyone else?
So I'm new to this industry over the past year, and for me, it was like a time in life where I had to rely on everybody else to kind of teach me and support me. So I think like that success was found in the work environment, where I'm able to learn more and feel comfortable, and like I'm starting to get a grasp. So yeah, I think from a different perspective, instead of being the one kind of leading, I was in that position where I was kind of learning.
You had to be humble a little bit.
Yeah, you have to kind of set your pride aside and realize that you know everything.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Helping me and others learn that compromise isn't a loss, but a means of success.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Yes?
Trying to do what we do by looking, like, moving out the golden door, you know, just trying to do other because I
Right. Right. Good. So, what frustrations do you have on a daily basis? Nobody has any frustrations, so this was perfect. Go ahead.
people who are passive aggressive, and we're all about them.
Okay.
Those personality politics.
Okay. Go ahead.
Probably not the answer you're looking for, but this time of the year, it's the fresh snow on the ground every morning I wake up. It's pretty frustrating.
Well,
You live in Kentucky, I want to.
nice. Snow's better than the ice, though. I'm going to say that. Anyone else? Okay.
I work with the North Country Clean Energy Hub, and there's a lot of people this time of year who are in really dire situations, and while we have frameworks and programs to help a lot of people, we can't help everyone, and that can be really frustrating.
Right. Right. That's very true. So, what we're going to do is we're going to walk through Clark the contractor. So just we're going to follow Clark through his day. This is going to be a typical day for Clark. He's got a contracting home performance contracting business. It's him, and he's got 6 people that are with him. He's got an energy auditor. He's got the crew leader, himself, an office manager, an assessor. So he's going through his day trying to make it. He wants to do the best that he can do, but sometimes he gets into frustrations, we'll say. So first thing in the morning, Clark wakes up, hit the snooze too many times, got running late, in a hustle bustle, really busy. He starts out on the road and he's heading down, and there's a school bus that sits in front of him as he's stopped picking up the kids, and Clark is sitting there, and he's just getting frustrated inside, and why can't they just get onto the bus quickly? Why do they got to sit there and wait and spend all this time out at the bus? Why do the other people that are driving, why aren't they moving out of the way? The light was yellow, you could have made it through. All of these types of things that he's going through on his way to work, and he's blaming others for for being in his way, and feeling the victim. Clark gets to the office and finds out that the phone messages that he got was the crew leader. It's supposed to start at 7. At 7:05, he called and said, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to make it." And Clark just responds to him, "Well, fine, I'll do it all myself." Doesn't listen to him, doesn't do anything. Gets that call. Then the crew leader decides that today was a good day to just take the day off. So he took off, or he wasn't there. So now, and also the auditor didn't show up. So there was an audit that was supposed to be completed. So Clark's just got kind of a hot mess going for him at the beginning of the day, just being frustrated with what's going on. Then he has to make the phone call to the person that he's set up for an assessment. He decides that I'll just call him and, "Hey, our auditor, he got called in for jury duty. He's not going to be able to make it. We'll have to try to figure out another time to schedule it up," because it makes him feel better. But he's also, telling a fib. Then Clark gets to the job site, pull up at the job site, only to find out that the generator doesn't have any gas in it. They don't have the gas that they need to do the work for the day. So he starts, pointing fingers at the other guys on the crew. How come you didn't, make sure that the gas was in it? It was your responsibility, when in fact he knows that he was the one that was supposed to have stopped and got the gas the night before on his way into the office. But instead of taking accountability for any of that, he just starts pointing fingers at the crew and just getting more and more frustrated. Then he gets a phone call from the supplier that the insulation that was supposed to be delivered to the job site that day wasn't going to make it because he wasn't paid up on his bill. And he just starts getting frustrated and irritated, and starts retorting back to the supplier, and well, you would have brought me the insulation if it because I didn't order the material for the Johnson house from you. Now you're putting this all on me and making my day even worse. So he's taking it personal. He's blaming others for any of the concerns. Now we have the customer at the house. So Clark goes and gets with the supplier with his credit card and gets the insulation, heads back to the job site, picks up the gas. They're back there at the job site. The guys are sitting there on the house, and they just didn't want to have to take the siding off, so we're just going to drill holes right through the vinyl siding so that we could do the insulation. Doesn't really matter, it's quicker that way. Now the homeowner is sitting there seeing the the mess on the side of her house, and she's giving Clark the business about you said that you were going to peel the siding off and drill the holes so that when at the end I wasn't going to see any of the the remnants of you guys doing any of the work. I've got cellulose sitting all over my back deck. Guys didn't clean it up. And, Clark's just getting frustrated because, it's another person coming at him and, blaming him for the work. And he, retorts back to her and says, well, you just be quiet because all this stuff was getting done for free. So you should just be happy that we're here doing the work. So, he's just getting into that situation even further and further. So, the end of the day, Clark heads home. He's got his head down, trying to figure out why everybody's out to get him. He's angry, he's frustrated, he's just fed up. Does anybody see Clark in your day? Anyone? That's
Clark's everywhere, all over this country.
In different facets, but absolutely.
and it's easy to fall into that. So as I was looking this up, I got a good chuckle out of it. So insanity, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And the whole time I was sitting there thinking, oh, this was Einstein. But in all reality, the first place that it was actually documented, that it was an actual quote, was from Rita Mae Brown, 1983, in the book Sudden Death. Kind of an assumption that's made there. So it's easy to fall into that. So what would you do differently?
Wake up earlier,
Wake up earlier?
go to bed.
Go to sleep early, yeah.
That starts the whole thing, right?
Clark needs an assistant.
Clark needs an assistant?
Keep him on track.
Or a system to manage that.
Or a system?
I would say to meditate and take personal responsibility. This is like,
Take responsibility?
differently to make this go better.
Okay. Not be a victim, probably?
Probably an underlying reason why all of the employees call me. Maybe like doing that.
I
Could
think,
be.
Clark should probably reach out to the employee assistance program and try to get some therapy going.
Or a
Okay.
career.
Or a new career. Okay.
But I also think as a small organization, you mean well as a business owner to do something as small as that. And it is more overwhelming when you truly realize what you put yourself into, more planning on each part of it. Just, somebody said time management, but all of that kind of plays in a factor. I want to do this, I'm gonna run my own business. But then it's like, what are those other components that truly
Right.
make that life, right?
Right.
What do I need to ask for some help?
Ask for some help?
Yeah.
You mean not just sit there and do the, I got this,
Yeah.
take care of everything?
I mean, Clark's in a tough situation. I mean, the way he's going through his day and the way he's responding to everything, it's an indication that this way of thinking has been reinforced and is a constant drag on him. And, it's a really difficult environment these days to independently, all on your own, without others, to get to behavior change. And I have found that oftentimes in my own experience is that, when you adjust the conditions for differential association, who somebody's spending the top 3 people time with, you start to absorb those people's behaviors, wordings, little statements, and also, everybody has a little inherent imposter syndrome in them. And sometimes if you're around a couple of productive people who see everything glass half full, it starts to rub off on you.
Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna say, like, those days everything goes wrong, and it's hard to do in the moment. I wish Clark could be where you say, take a second, at the bus, when the bus is going, or when you get to the office, like, okay, this is not going well to start, and being able to slow down, do the communication you need in the right way. It's just that slowing down, you do it, it makes such a difference, but it's really hard to do.
Right.
Solution oriented.
Solution oriented.
I think he was pointing a lot of fingers, complaining about what's happening, not seeing opportunities for coaching his staff, figuring out why some of these things are happening to the staff.
Right.
Or trying to figure out how to resolve those rather than just thinking of them as slights against them.
Gotcha.
Work on getting clear on personal core values and guiding principles.
Okay.
I just stop lying so much.
Stop lying so much. All right. All right. So what to do? How to succeed? Some of the big things that I look at is listen, question. It's not personal. Be honest. Be honest, and do your best. Listen. So as I was putting this together, I'm like, all right, I got all these words and all these things that that make sense, and then I was like, all right, let's go back to the beginning and look at the definition of listen. To hear something with thoughtful attention and give consideration. Listen to other stories and their needs. Have empathy for their journey. Take the time to listen, to understand what's going on. Understand what it is that he can bring to the table. Understand what each and every one of us can bring, because each and every one of us has something special inside of us that makes us unique, that makes us ourselves, and are able to to provide that and share that with others. And while you're taking the time to listen, you're probably going to hear the answer. If you spend all your time talking, you're not going to hear it. Next up is assumption, assuming that you accept as true without question or proof. Now I know that there's a saying about assume that everybody, I see the chuckles around the room, and I think what I feel is we downgrade an assumption, because all of a sudden you just say, it makes a out of you and me. We don't really pay attention to it. An assumption it gets us all into trouble. Heck, it got me into trouble because I threw Einstein up on the slide at the beginning. Just making an assumption. Didn't ask the question. Didn't get the understanding. And that's the part. It's getting the understanding, taking a breath, listening, asking for help, understanding. Assumed outcomes are usually false. Others are out there. All you got to do is ask. So on the assumption thing, think of 15-year-old Johnny. He's at school, and the homecoming queen, she smiles at him as he's going down the hallway, and Johnny's getting all kinds of big visions in his head. He's like, she smiled at me. I think we're going to go to the prom, and then we're going to go to the same college. We're going to get married. We're going to have 2.5 kids. All from a smile. And, I would love to be as clairvoyant as Johnny to be able to figure things out on what's going on in life, but you can't. You've got to ask the questions. You've got to get the understanding and ask others for help. It's not personal. An action or decision is not directed at a specific person and is instead based on objective factors. So this is a tough one. So you're walking down the hall and all of a sudden someone starts laughing behind you. It's like, oh, what happened? Did I drop something? Is there someone put a kick me sign on my back? What's happening? Just making those automatic interactions. Don't take anything personal. Look at the facts. People's reactions to you are usually a reaction or an indication of what's happening to them. Someone that shows up and they get angry at you, 9 times out of 10, there's something that they're angry at themselves about that you just get to be the one that's taking the brunt of it. So we can't take things personal because that just winds up chewing at us. And, as much as we would like to think that the world revolves around each and every one of us, it doesn't. There's so much that's going on, and we're all just a piece in the puzzle. It's not everything is all around each and every one of us.
That person might have had a day like Clark did.
Could have made a day like, could have set yourself up with a day like Clark too. And be honest, free of fraud or deception. Be honest. Understand the power of a promise. Say you're going to do something, you do it. If you're not going to be able to do it, renegotiate. Say, hey, I'm not able to do that. I can do this. Saves so much time and so much aggravation. Understand what you're great at. Like I said earlier, every one of us has something that, we're really good at. Nobody else can do the same thing that we can do. We're all over the place. Use those strengths. Understand what it is that you can do. And you also need to understand your cost of your time, energy, and money. Because you could spend a lot of time working on something that's going to chew so much of your energy, your time, your money, that doesn't leave you anything for the rest of it. The best, of the highest quality, or being the most suitable, pleasing, or effective type of thing or person. Do your best always. Today may be the day that you can really do your absolute best. Tomorrow you may not. Tomorrow you may have a head cold, and your best is going to be a little bit different than today. But if you're always doing your best, you're going to be even better tomorrow because you learned something today. You were able to make an impact today so that tomorrow you're better than you were yesterday. And that's the biggest part is you gotta continually want to improve. Some days will be better than others. Make mistakes. You don't know what you're going to get into unless you make a mistake. And own it. Mistakes happen. You learn things. Now, you're better tomorrow or you're better today than you were yesterday after your mistakes. Exceed your commitments. If you say you're going to do something, do more. And help others. Because the more people that you bring in to help out, the more people that I help, well, they're going to be more intending or more open to, hey, I can give you a hand on this, or I can give you a hand on that.
I just wanted to say something. When you say fail, I've always used it in facilitation workshop. It's your first attempt at learning, and it's okay to, because people are afraid to fail. But when you put it in that perspective, it's like we have to sometimes fail in order to achieve our goals. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Every year the car companies fail, because next year there's a new version that has new stuff in the car that we didn't know that we needed the day before. So it's how we learn, it's how we grow, it's how we become better. So, a solution, the answer to a problem. What can Clark do? He can put together a daily plan, set clear expectations of himself, of his employees, to his customers. Tell the truth. Johnny got a head cold. He's not going to be able to be in today. He'll be able to reschedule and come and do that audit. Now you don't have to sit there and say, then Johnny goes to the customers, says, "Oh, how was jury duty?" So now you're just, you make you tell a lie so that you, quote unquote, feel better today. You're going to have to pay for that feeling better some other day. Accountability. Say you're going to do something, do it. If you're not able to meet those goals, own up to it. It's a lot easier to say, hey, I'm not going to be able to do that next week, than next week not show up. At least you can have some pre-planning. Humility. We all make mistakes. It's called life. Own them. Learn from them. And listen. Spend more time listening to the customer, listening to your employees, listening to everybody. You're going to learn so much more. And then, right. And then change. Because if you keep doing the same thing that you did yesterday, you're probably going to get the same results tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after. So let's take a look at Clark's day. Clark gets a good night's sleep. He's got his plan put together for the day, so he knows where he's going. Got to work ahead of he decided that he was going to get to the office and have some coffee and go through his projects. So he beat the school buses. He beat the rest of his employees. So he was there. He was ready for the day. Now at the office, the guys know that Clark's putting in his time, and he's asking the questions, and he's holding the rest of the employees accountable, and they know what to expect. Heck, Clark's going to be in late, so why do I have to show up? So it's, your actions wind up show you're teaching, the employees, you're teaching other people how to respect you. So if you don't show any respect to somebody else, they're not going to show the same to you. The accountability. We've got these to do. Let's do it. Let's make sure that we're taking care of it. And the team. It's not, well, I'll just do it by myself type of an attitude. It's, well, there's a reason why I have 6 people here. It's because I can't do it myself. It's because you're specialized in, in what you're doing. You're specialized in what you're doing. And together we all come together and make a team. called and confirmed the appointment. Customer had their utility bills, they were all ready, had the stuff moved out of the closet so you could get into the attic because you made the communication, you've got the parts and pieces put together ahead of time. Now at the job site, set up our, Clark decided that I've had enough of this. All right, we got the gas cans already filled, so on Fridays, all the gas cans get filled and put into the corner so that they're there and ready for us. We've ordered all the materials for the week, for the day, so that we're ready for it. Holding the rest of the team members accountable, making sure that they're doing the right things and they understand what the right things are. Not just show up and go up by the seat of your pants, understand what it is that we need to pull together. Be efficient. It's a lot more efficient to have the oil changed on your generator and the gas ready and the parts sitting there ready to go. So get in there at 7 o'clock in the morning, head out with the trucks and go to the customer's house. It's not, well, we got to go stop at Home Depot. We got to stop at the supply house. We've got to, make all these extra runs. And integrity, holding fast to what it is that you said you're going to do and do them. Now, Clark gets a phone call from the supplier and says, hey, we've got a customer appreciation day. Well, why don't you bring your crew down here? We're going to have hot dogs, hamburgers. We've got this, this new vendor that's coming in. They've got some, insulation materials that I really think that would be something that would help you guys. So, now instead of having enemies down at the supply house, they're trying to figure out how to help you out to make your day better. And teamwork, more than just Clark. It's the whole system. It's the whole everybody. Growing relationships. So a happy customer, you exceed expectations, you're kind, you make them comfortable, trustworthy, exceeding expectations. You're at the job, you're blowing in the second story walls on the house, and in the gutter up top, it's all full of leaves. Mrs. Smith doesn't have a 30-foot ladder to get up on the side of the house. Already there. All right, I'm just going to grab those leaves out of there, throw them in the bucket with the rest of the materials on the job. Just going to throw it away. Now, I didn't call these guys in here to clean my gutters, but they did. It's seeing something and helping somebody else out, and it's making those, those interactions so much better.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Now you sit down at the table and you go over the project, and the customer's sitting there saying, "Oh, I didn't expect you guys to clean out the gutters, and they did this and they did that." Just hold on a second. I'm going to call my neighbor right over, and she's going to come over here, and I want to show her what you guys have done. I want to. My uncle, he can use the same thing. Let's get him on the phone, and all right, I'm going to have him come over. The customer winds up. Next thing you know, the guys are at the job, and she's making cookies for the team because you're being respectful. You're being kind. You're being good. You're being nice and making a difference, making somebody else's bad day better. And these are all things that we can do just in the day-to-day. And it doesn't matter if you're a contractor, program, whatever. We can all do things to help each other out. So now at the end of the day, Clark gets to go home satisfied, humble, because he's had help. He's had the ability to, to make the difference. Now he's energized for the next day because it's going to be a heck of a lot more fun to go into work when everybody's working together and everybody's helping each other out to make it a better place. Let's see. Sweet. All right. Anybody? I did quicker than the last run through, but does there anybody have any questions, suggestions? How do I make this better?
Well, not so much about the presentation, you've done a fine job, but when I began managing people, the people would come to me with their problems, and usually when they got to me, it was a dumpster fire. I used to frustrate me, constantly helping others solve their problems and constantly coming to me. Seemed frustrating, but as I've grown on in my career, it's become one of the more gratifying things is to help people and think through their issues and being in a position to support, to help somebody. Much better position to be in that position than being somebody who's relying upon others and not being called upon per se. So I guess that's how I've approached just through my career. Is I've ended up managing a lot more people and found that that's really what I like to do rather than the engineering part of the working with customers, working with people seems to be the more gratifying thing. I like to help be more excited about my day.
So you're finding your purpose.
Right.
You're finding your genius, if you will, of the things that energize you. That at the end of the day, you go home and yeah, it was a dumpster fire and there was this and there was that, but I got to make a difference. Those are the types of things that that we all need to find, because we, like I said at the beginning. So when Jason was introducing, and civil engineer, value stream manager, those don't mean anything. Sure, they're a nice title or whatever, and it's those are just titles. It's what you do within that really makes the difference. So
I have two little kids, and it's always a good reminder that base level, you have to start with kindness and curiosity. And you can't teach them anything unless you're starting there. And I think it's easy for us as adults to forget that. So I really appreciate you reinforcing kindness. I think that we as human beings could incorporate that a lot more into everybody's lives. And I also think that it helps us problem solve better because our brains are in a more relaxed state, so that we can be more creative and we can influence other people to be more creative with their solutions. And I think that really snowballs the wider our reach is. So, thanks.
So as I was putting this together, some of those things that Clark did, those are things that I used to do, and seeing that made it even more important that, oh crap, I got to do this, because I know that those are things that I ran through, and being able to sit there and it's going bad real quick. Take that step back, take a deep breath, and look, is that how I would want someone talking to my grandmother? Is that how I'd want someone talking to my mother, to my wife, to my kids? And honestly, because we all, at least I know I can, get into that point, and it's take a step back. It's easy to fall into that and fall into a victim to that process. Take a step back, take a deep breath. It's not that bad. It's not that bad, and yeah, it was tough because you sit there and it's like, all right, I'm a small business owner. I got to do it all. You can't. You can't.
Tom, our team does a really good job of customer, and they're very happy and satisfied with the work. We ask them to give us a testimonial, and that's really
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, it sounds like, you've had your experience with this on the side of like, supporting your team. People have bad days. And so I'm wondering, like, for you guys coming in and stuff's going wrong, like, how do you create accountability? How do you work with someone? How do you like create all the things that you're saying within your team as a culture of that?
Well, so it's a lot of listening, and you also have to set the expectations, because if you just constantly listen and there's no accountability for, if someone comes in, oh, I'm late again, it's like, all right, what are you doing to not be late? Are you doing anything about it? And that's the part that, you can't just be nice all the time. You got to have the accountability piece to it, because, if it's a constant, look, I love you. You're great, but I got to have you here, every day of the week. I can't have one day that you're not here. Maybe doing a great job with things and, constantly coming, but it also has to, there's the accountability side of it, where, okay, you got to own your stuff. You can't expect everybody to just take care of you. You've got to put some skin into it. You've got to do something about it. So, that's what, I mean, every morning at our morning meeting, we started off with a prayer and then go through what does everybody need in the office. All right, I asked last week for this part and we didn't get it. There's accountability. Okay, did you reaffirm that you needed it? Where did we get it? So it's, it takes work. I mean, it's not like Clark, how he went from Clark Griswold over to Clark Kent overnight. It's, it takes work, and you're gonna stumble, and you're gonna get better tomorrow, or not. I mean, you could wind up having to find something else to do with your life. So it's not, it's not easy. I'm going to tell you that. It takes work. It takes intention, and you got to put yourself into it.
Joe, watching your presentation, great presentation. It reminded me of a book called The Four Agreements. Have you, by chance, ever read that?
Miguel?
Anybody else? Does that
Miguel?
play into this? Yeah.
Maybe once or twice.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Because I read it and I'm like, yeah, I need to learn more from this book. Yeah.
It's so true, and that's the part. If you gotta put yourself in there, and that takes the humility, because if you sit there and you stay at Clark and I know everything and everybody else is wrong, you're not going to change. You're not going to change until you sit there and you say, all right, this didn't work. I got to do something different.
I think a few thoughts, just as this gentleman was talking about his experience, throwing through leadership and really advancing to teams coming to you with problems. I often think of the fact that, I've gone through a similar experience. I'm no longer the front lines dealing with our program participants, but do is provide, I'm the support for the staff that are, right? And making sure that they have the skills and can have someone to listen to and vent. And, I often think about parenting too. I tell my kids often, as a parent, it's my job to teach you to not make the same mistakes I made or I saw other people make, right? It's the same with, leading a team. And I think that comes with humility and having some open conversations. I tell the people I supervise, I've made every mistake there is to make.
Oh, don't worry, you still got some more.
And I'm still learning, right?
Yeah.
And as we go through that, just having those conversations and having good communication, about the things that you're challenged with, and they learn from that. And I think that's good mentorship, but it's also I learn from them too.
Yeah.
So just opening that conversation and allowing that.
And one of the big things that I've learned is if it's a decision that's, kind of one of those ones that it's like, I don't want to make it. Those are the ones that you really have to take care of, because those are the ones that are driving all of the rest of the rest of your frustrations. At least in my my experience, that's what I've found. Anybody else have anything? Let's see. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, and make sure that. Oh, one last thing. So, on the as far as like I'm talking about helping and community. One of the greatest things that I found in the last 2 years, just as far as being a contractor and working through here, has been BPCA, and it's great because there's humility amongst the team, and we all make mistakes, and we can help each other learn from them to make it a better place. So I just suggest anybody that isn't a member of BPCA to join. When we're working through the things that are frustrating and headaches, and trying to make it a better place, and building the communication. I mean, if you saw it in the meeting just before this. All right, how do we better connect all of us, so that, because we're all on the same team, we all got the same customer, we're just at different parts in the process. So all working together is really what makes it work. So, all right, now I'm done for real.
Good job, man.